Alright, we are live again, and hopefully this time on multiple platforms, and I did it all right. Oh, yeah, I'm getting a feedback loop from the Twitter. Excellent. We're live on Twitter today. We're gonna give this a go. Try some more multi-streaming. I don't know if the chat is gonna work on Twitter, or X, but hey, it's gonna be a thing. We're gonna try it, see where we go with it. And we're gonna be working today on I did a push, put all the main code into the main project. There's a few little issues, but I want to kind of update all the work that I've done on the systems project into the main, and kind of just spend a little bit of time chatting. I've been kind of focusing on like making a tool that's going to help, bring some conceptual ideas together. Hopefully you guys are all having a good day. Hopefully chat works. I just closed out all the chat, what do you call it? So I don't know how well I trust social stream. I mean, hopefully everything works. I mean, at the end of the day, all that matters is that we're working on the game, but... Look at this guy! Fixius, do me a favor and go to X, Captain Revere, and see if you can actually comment on the thingamabobber. See if it works. See if I'm saturating all of my internet for no reason. Star Wars Day today. I won't be playing it right away, but at some point I want to give it a go and get some inspiration from it. But yeah, so this is like the main project now. With the test, all the test stuff that I've kind of ported over. Still some bugs, but I don't even see a live video on your Twitter page. I think I need Pro. I don't think you need Pro to watch it. It kind of gets embedded as a, yeah, let's just say Twitter Captain Revere or x.com Captain Revere. Gonna mute it real quick. I should be, maybe I'm not. Yeah, right here is hosting. So this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that when people that are following me, I have a couple of followers, go here, they'll see, hey, Revere's hosting. So I do like this exposure. You can literally see someone is live, but it's not extremely clear, but it does work. But it doesn't also post like the live. I don't know. Or is it maybe here? Yeah, it's kind of... I don't know. You figure they would do... Maybe on my profile? No, because that would be my profile. Because here is the broadcast. I'm gonna see if this works for myself. Nope. Yeah, I don't think chat...
We could all benefit from a little bit more perspective. What do you mean? Under the stars, everyone feels small. Keeps the ego in check, makes you feel human. And all those stupid, insignificant problems that we stress out about on a daily basis just really don't seem to matter at all anymore.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. They'll get organized eventually. So yeah, what I've done is I pushed all code changes to the main project. I'm going to be setting up the final kind of version of the ship and kind of cleaning up a few things. I really wish this Zoom wasn't so buggy. Mhm.
Se você disser que eu desafino amor, saiba que isso em mim provoca imensa dor. Só privilegiados têm ouvido igual ao seu. Eu possuo apenas o que Deus me deu. Se você insiste em classificar meu comportamento de antimusical, eu mesmo mentindo devo argumentar que isso é bossa nova, isso é muito natural. O que você não sabe nem sequer pressente é que os desafinados também têm um coração. Fotografei você na minha Rolleiflex, revelou-se a sua enorme ingratidão. Só não poderá.
Yeah, I get the NPCs done tomorrow. Tomorrow, no, wait, not tomorrow. When on the 1st. So Sunday, I'm gonna get the. I have someone I'm gonna be contracting to redo the armatures of the NPC character variations, which have all the different clothing options and stuff like that already kind of like set up for that armature. So I'm hoping Sunday we'll get the NPCs in. And that'll be kind of awesome.
Saiba que isso em mim provoca imensa dor. Só privilegiados têm ouvido igual ao seu. Eu mesmo só possuo o que Deus me deu. Se você insiste em classificar meu comportamento de antimusical, eu mesmo mentindo devo argumentar que isso é bossa nova, isso é muito natural. O que você não sabe nem sequer pressente é que os desafinados também têm um coração. Fotografei você na minha Rolleiflex, revelou-se a sua enorme ingratidão. Só não poderá falar assim do meu amor. Ele é o maior que você pode encontrar. Viu você com sua música esqueceu o principal. É que no peito um desafinado, no fundo do peito bate calado. É que no peito um desafinado também bate um coração. É que no peito um desafinado, bem no fundo do peito bate calado. É que no peito de um desafinado também bate um coração. Bate um coração.
On top of the YouTube channel. Starfield DLC soon. Vision, see? I don't know why. The chat on Chatterino does that. It's annoying. Like, yeah, I literally see Fusion. Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. Now it's working. I had to like close it, like just refocus it again. Meh. Yeah, I'm excited for the Starfield DLC. Have you played with the buggy yet, Fusion, in the update? I want to play through the new Star Wars. I want to experience it just to see, like artistically, like what what they've done for a lot of their prefabs and things like that. I think it'd be kind of neat. It'd be good insight from it. Anyway. Yeah, I wonder if I can actually move these out of the armature. As I can use an external term. Oh, I wonder what that would do. I'd like to keep these bone attachments somewhere out of the model, but still referencing the path of the bone itself. And the skeleton 3D reference. I know when we do external, we can set an external skeleton. I wonder if I should set them up under the hierarchy and then kind of define the bones. So that way they're a lot easier to kind of swap out the model. Don't have to go into the model or make it local. To be able to go in and kind of define where the mounts are. Just loading Starfield for the first time in ages to check it out. The buggy. Oh, cool. I remember you enjoyed the game Too Buggy for you. Man, I had no bugs with it whatsoever. I didn't understand the purpose of locking a lot of the stuff behind the Unity. Like I want to get all the powers, you have to go through the Unity over and over and over again. And by the time I was finished kind of going through everything to get all the powers, I was just burnt out. And I never even used the powers half the time, but it was just like I'm in a weird state in the game now where it's like I think I have enough of them, like defined that I want, that I can like actually play through and relax and kind of unlock everything and kind of live in the world. But like the whole point of going through it over and over again to finally get all the powers, and then you can kind of start playing the game. It reminds me of like Make Love Not Warcraft, the South Park episode, where they've gone through this whole process of like like getting everything so they could like play the game, but now they gotta like now they're at a fresh start, and then you gotta go through it all again. And I just didn't understand the point. Like I don't like getting like it should be like almost like a what do you call it game where if you get really bored and you're done, go through the Unity. But otherwise, like having you go through the Unity and then like start over and have to kind of go through and get all the temples and stuff, like it's just like it created a lot of extra playtime, but at the cost of like diluting the experience. And that's what I didn't really like about it. But like up at playing through those first 100 hours, I loved it. It was great, up to that point. Like there was literally nothing wrong with it, but Mhm. They're backwards. That's funny. Yeah, that should be facing outward. Unless the habitation module itself is backwards. Oh yeah, what? They are kind of facing away. Facing Z minus. I'm getting all the Patreon stuff working again now. It all works on the test build. Have you seen the planet stuff I was working on in Fusion? Yeah, let me actually compare that to the other build. I want to see if they're actually backwards in the build. Yes, they are facing Z minus. at the root level. Which these are not. They should be. Unless the nodes are backwards. That would make sense. I don't think so, though. No. I am out of memory. I'm gonna close out the other project. Yeah, so that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's smiling it backwards. Brad's place. It's funny because it didn't. Yeah, the placeholder spawned in okay. Yeah, it should literally be nodes are facing correctly. So this does not need to be editable. Yep, facing Z minus. Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe because it's resetting it. I need to have no rotation, but I do need to rotate everything else. We gotta reparent. We need to reparent a lot of this stuff. The issue is that this model, a lot of stuff came imported from the model, and I should have put the hab as a as like a default scene. Yeah, let's redo it. Well, how about these Plano? Clear rotation module. And let's rename this one model. And we'll flip the model around. Okay. Mhm.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Why is it still doing it backwards? Right, it should be facing Z minus. And I literally shouldn't have a rotation on that now. So there isn't one. It's facing Z minus. Right, there's a rotation on the model, which is fine. This should now be good. Yeah, there's no rotation on these. -20 -4. You figure out why the hab wasn't spawning in? I want to show up the latest build on tonight's stream. Oh, dude. There's a lot more weird bugs with stuff, but the answer is yes. And what I'm doing today is bringing all those changes that we were messing with into the main build, where we have the final ship. So multiplayer in this build is, you know, us actually using this version of the ship and not the gray box version. And the hab is obviously now this hab. So yeah, I'm experimenting today. I'm on the old X, trying to get more of the socials going. You are like right. Like the thing that we need to work on now is kind of marketing, a little bit of everything, you know, like, but mostly going out to build. Here, Captain Revere. You can actually see Revere is hosting. So now I'm like, I like this. I think this gives us a ton of. We don't have time to take our time. We gotta grow the Patreon. I need to clip more. We need to make clips and, you know, more focused showcases. We gotta take the time to step back and be like, this would be cool to show off. Film it. Take a break. Post it. I don't know. And maybe we got to do that while I'm streaming. Like maybe like when we see something cool, hey Rav, someone should like, I should make like a clip it like button or some type of, I don't know, but just a way to be like, this is cool. We should make a clip. We should spend 15 minutes, make a clip, stick it on social media. But now you can click here and join the stream. I don't have any viewers on this thing. Nobody even knows like what it is, but it's like $15 for the blue check mark, and you know, once people it's another way, because I've been noticing, and like I said, I'm very transparent with this stuff. When I was posting, I started posting little tidbits, right? So there's just a little tidbit here, right, of the buggy working, and man, like that little bit of engagement, you know, like that got impressions, that got engagement, it got likes, it's got like some, so that's you know, like good, right? And we need to do this more. We need to showcase the builds. We had to showcase the content. We have to like, and thanks for the so this is another way of watching, you know what I mean? And I have the bandwidth to do it. And anyone who is following me, like they're on X, oh look, Rav's live. So I think it's a good idea. Yeah, found ya. Right, and because it's up to you, like, you know, then it's more up to the user where they want to go and watch. You know, it's kind of, you know, I don't care about the money per each platform. We ultimately, you know, want people to go to, you know, Patreon monolithic. That's where we want people. And until I find a way to get, you know, like when we get the rewards online, we start getting stations and stuff like that. I think it'll grow. We're almost there. Like we're at a stage now where we're just making content, right? We're building the game now, and you know, we're ironing out multiplayer stuff. Like a lot of multiplayer stuff works, so I'm just ironing. So I had a bunch of issues still with the seats. Like there's still issues with gravity. So I got rid of the old character body code that I was using, and like I just nuked everything. So there's not like player rigid body, there's just player now, because I'm not going to have a character body version of a player. I'm going to be using rigid bodies now for everything. So I kind of like went and redid, like kind of cleaned things up. And now we have free look. Like free look is now working in everything. And item port has full airship. The item port scene has the in Unforgiven systems is the offline version, like the you know, where you can actually like upgrade everything. And yeah, this is going to be a nice build, I think. I'm going to put the buggy in this one too. I want us to fly around the ship. Oh yeah, and I don't have the I don't have the lens flare effects in here either. Yeah, it turned out so the bug that we were getting, Pagan, I'll try to explain it. I wrote a script, like a lerping function that takes over the player when they enter a gravity volume and aligns them, right? And then lets the gravity do its thing. I did it this way so that I didn't need to always be adjusting the player. Now on planetary gravity, I am automatically adjusting the player anyway. Like that's kind of how the planetary gravity works. But I didn't want to use it for stations, given that once you're in a station and you're aligned, there's literally like that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in the plane of whatever you want to call it. Like you're here, right? You're in the gravity. You're good. The issue that I have with that in Godot is when we go and we kind of we lock ourselves into the seat. What happens is disabling the rigid body itself is causing the gravity area, the area 3D, to trigger an exit. In other words, when I lock myself to get into the seat, I'm actually clearing myself from gravity. And in reality, when I'm locking and unlocking the rigid body, when I'm freezing and unfreezing it, I don't really want to be triggering these area 3D triggers, right? That's kind of a fallacy of design as far as what I want it to do. So what's actually happening when I interact with the seat is that I was actually enabling myself and registering myself with the station's gravity, and I'm doing that alert function. So when we're in the seat and we interact with it and we're seeing that weird stuttering, that's the function of aligning ourselves to the station gravity, because we got ejected out of the ship gravity when we got frozen. So like I needed to change the way the player is defined as being in a gravity volume. So now players themselves have an area 3D reference, which is like, so we have gravity volume as a base class, and then we have our different types of gravity volumes which extend the gravity, volume base class. And then the player itself just has a gravity volume reference, and they can only ever be in one gravity, it's like, volume, because it's all nested anyway. So what I had to do is when I'm exiting and entering, when I'm triggering these things, I need to actually check and see where I came from and where I'm going. Like, which one ejected me. This way, if I'm already in a ship and I have a ship gravity volume set as being me, and I go to like I've already entered it, and I'm in gravity. When I go and interact and I go to disable my character, and that area trigger happens again, because it's like, oh, you're being removed from gravity. Well, no, I'm not. I'm interacting with the seat. It knows to ignore the triggers, right? So that's like, it's a bit of mundaneness, but I would like to be able to change the way Area 3Ds work, to have an optional parameter that when I disable or enable the player, it doesn't trigger it. Like, I just want to be able to freeze and unfreeze rigid bodies without notifying their associated areas. Because if I can do that by default, or with some addition to the Godot source code, like changing the way area works, and what I would have to do some weird juggling of the, because the issue is well, someone said to me, why don't you just move them to a different layer? Well, the moving the player to do it to a different physics layer still causes an exit of the trigger when they're moved into the new layer, because they've been moved. Like it still clears them. It doesn't work. So anyway, I'm kind of like checking now, like the hierarchy of things, and I'm kind of like ships have a reference to a gravity volume. So when a player, when the ship enters gravity, it registers itself with station gravity. And then whenever I'm entering, I can kind of check now. Like whenever I'm entering a ship, from the ship, I can check and see if that ship's in gravity 2, and if that ship is already in a gravity volume, I don't need to register that player into that station gravity. I can just keep it local to the, the ship. Because ideally, once a ship enters gravity, we don't really care if the player is registered or not. When the player exits the ship, it'll correct itself. So there's just little weird behaviors that are just occurring. They've kind of fixed. Like I think they're fine now. You don't see any kind of glitching happening here now. But it was just really annoying. Like I really want the default behavior to be different from my edge case. But yeah. So that's what I'm gonna be working on today. Is I want to get the station working, like the original station that we could load into, and spawn in the halves. We know they work in testing, but I want to spawn them in like the real ones and actually go to Joe's Furniture and buy some cargo and some furniture and stick it in there. So that's what I'm working on. The other thing, Pagan, if you're still watching, I started working on this side project. This is called the Asset Manager. This is the Monolithic Studios Asset Manager. And this is a prototype that I'm kind of working on, right? And the idea, and I'll kind of explain it. I don't remember if your background was software engineering or not, but this tool is a web app. And what it's going to be designed to do is I go to assets, right? And I can click on an asset. And I have a GLTF model viewer using 3 JavaScript. But what I want to do is I want to create a system like a wiki, but it's a wiki that actually uses the game assets. So like, how do I go to resources? Like, like if I go to media, I can just upload images, right? Like any concept art or anything at all, textures, anything can be uploaded to the system. But the idea is, I go and, add a resource, let's say like fuel, right? And I add it, and it parses it out. So this is like a Godot game object, a Godot resource. And it'll be like, oh, this is a commodity resource. So if this commodity resource doesn't exist by its class, it adds it to the database, right? Hey, Hawk. So that way, what we end up having here is under resources, we have all of our class types, and I go to commodities, and I can see all of our commodities. And then when I click the commodity, I can actually go and edit all the resource data, and I can do it out of the engine, right? So if I'm a designer and I want to go in and like add a new resource, by adding the new resource, I'm literally saying, okay, there it is. Like, so we have metal, the resource type is defined, and then I can artistically go in and add the images. Like, what's the concept art? What type of materials are it? I can add text to it. I can add text resources and kind of define like descriptions about it. So the idea is that everything is in one spot, and then as it goes along the pipeline, it can be tracked, right, and until it goes into the build. But that way, if all the components were there, if we went to resources components and we saw like all of our ship components, they could be downloaded as a CSV file, and a designer could import them into Google Sheets and balance all the stats, and see how well it works. And if they, and then if it works, they can, update the data on the asset manager, and it would update then in the builds. So that's the idea. There's some copyright-free jazz. Hopefully that works. Yeah, a revision control system for items rather than code. And it's a glue. It's meant to be a system of glue between artists and writers, right? People that are writing the lore, people that are, kind of like, like adding the assets and things like that. Yeah. And I think it's an investment to save time ultimately, because here's my concept, here's my idea. I go and add a planet as a resource. Well, that resource has dependencies. So because I've added a planet, just on the data side, right? the planet needs a faction. Well, I don't have a faction for it. Well, shit. To satisfy that resource dependency, I now need to go and add another resource. I got to add a new faction, right? So I add a new faction resource. Well, what's the faction name? What's the description? Well, I'm going to call it Faction 2 for now. But designers can see that a new faction has been added and like, oh, well, let me add a bunch of text. You know, let me, as a writer, come up with that faction. But, you know, but we're going to create it anyway. So now that planet, you know what I mean, which has been created, it has like some basic properties, a color, a position, like what star system it's in. Like if you don't know what star system the planet is in, like you need you need to select one. So to create that planet, you've also created the star system, right? You've also defined the color. You've added a bunch of media, and then by the time you go in, what does a planet, what does planets have? Well, they have an array of they have an array of outpost resources. Well, what are the outposts, that are on a planet? What are the cities that are on a planet? Or what are the landing locations that are on a planet? So you're building this up on the data side of things. You're editing the properties. And now artists, are getting concept arts and writers are adding text. And now as you go through the pipeline of adding this planet and creating all the prefabs and putting it all together, when the planet is done, you've seen timestamps of every part of the equation from the time it was added, from the time the first resource was added to it being shipped. You've tracked all of the process. And now from a project management perspective, we now know it takes us X months to make a planet, right? So if you make another planet, can we make it faster? Like, what did we learn from making a planet, right? But where does that learning go, right? Obviously, I'm learning how to make a planet, but where does that knowledge go? Where does the ordering of of this process, like what defines the pipeline of making a planet? Well, your project management does, right? Your revision control, because like the code already exists to make a planet have gravity, and it's all just different noise algorithms for how the planet looks. So what is a planet is the data, like what outpost is there, and the outpost is just game assets. I can literally put a store screen on a planet and give it whatever commodities, and it works. You can land there, buy the commodities, and systemically, as far as gameplay logic goes, it's fundamentally complete. But it's not, you know what I mean? Like we need the art, so that's where I am, right? I'm at this stage where I need to think about how do we streamline development in a way that other people can help. Where people can, if you want to do writing, you could jump in and add lore and stuff to things. And it's all tagged to their own user ID. So if you have to delete it or something, like they can only append things, right? They can only that's my idea, right? They can only append, they can't delete. And there's always, every time there's a change, it's added to the table, right? Like there's iterations, there's versioning, right, to the resource. And because it's a NoSQL JSON data structure that represents the resource, like things can be added and removed. So as the Godot resource file changes, the data just changes, and there can be totally two different versions, right, tied to two different versions of the class. So anyway, that's kind of what I started looking into, is how do we do that? How do we automate that? And oh yeah, Hawk, and just a note, I finally put myself here on we're trying out X as well today for the first time. So I don't know which bandwidth is better, but I love that it shows that I'm live right here, so you can't really miss it, and it shows people that are watching. I don't know. I don't like the fact that there's no like kind of integrated chat or anything yet. So like that's kind of annoying, but I give it a go. Use whatever platform works for you. So that's what's on the pipeline. So yeah, Pagan, on the 1st of the month, like so in 2 more days, Patreon's going to pay out, and we're going to burn through all of it immediately. I'm going to pay for the services for the server, because I haven't paid. I prepaid a few months ago, a few months in advance. So I'm going to update the hosting. And we're gonna get a shader. So my budget, we're gonna be commissioning a water shader. So it's like a standard water shader that'll work as a triplanar, kind of local to the planet. So this will bring the water planet to life, and I love the idea of starting with the water planet because there is no. It is just a shader. It's just a sphere. It's a sphere in a literal sense, right? With a cloud volume. So great spot to start. Great spot to conceptually add some interesting levels and level design. And it's really easy to do a buoyancy even if you want to kind of like. So that's my priority. Like I want to do the water shader because we need one, and then I'm going to have Anna or Amma, the lady who did my main characters and fix them. They're actually going to be doing, what do we call it? She's going to be fixing the NPCs. So all of the in Unity, we have. I'll actually bring it open. So there's another version of the main characters as a prefab that has all of the clothing options, and it has all the facial expression, like all the facial blend shapes. So so I'm hoping that we'll get those finished because she's pretty affordable as far as her ability to retarget stuff for Godot and everything. So I think it's under characters. I gotta make sure this is safe for workish. I'll just focus on Godot. But that'll be great because that'll put us next week. That'll put us in a position where next week the NPCs can be not like a final version of themselves, but they're not gray box. You know what I mean? We could have non-gray box NPCs. And we can randomize their clothing and kind of make them like they're station NPCs anyway, you know. So it'll be nice not having the gray box guys running around. And you know, just bring us back to the space station. That's my goal. We gotta redo the hangar manager. Actually, yeah. So because right now I have one terminal. Each terminal has a pad associated with it, and I don't want to do that. So we need to change it so that instead of the hangar, you know, screen referencing a hangar, or the the hangar, or sorry, the ship pad terminal representing a ship pad, we need to refactor, you know, the ship terminal, UI to access the station hangars, because there's a station hangar system. The idea is like the stations have hangars have pads. You can still manually add a kind of a spawn terminal, or you can have a spawn terminal like these exist manually and link it to a landing pad. So it's like a landing pad and a spawning terminal. But then we could also have the landing UI, the spawning UI linked to the station's hangar system, and that hangar system is the collection of all hangars that are in the actual station, which then have a landing pad. So it kind of all works through the same hierarchy. It's still like it's just the UI just needs to broadcast to the station, hey, I would like to spawn my ship, and then it'll give it the next available landing location, spawn it in. It did that before, but I had to change it for simplicity, because for a lot of the testing that I was doing, it was just like one landing pad, and like, you're just gonna spawn it in. Like, I didn't need to go create a full array of this stuff. So it needs to use a station manager for ship UI. That needs to be a thing. It needs to happen. Yeah, the thrust limiter. There's also a shader thing I need to figure out. I want to build a shader for doing power management. So like showing, what do we call it? It's like a size. There's my graph. Right, so I want to be able to visualize a seismograph on a shader. So the idea is like the UV coordinate space from 0 to 1, you know, of the material is, you know, pretty much, you know, where we're drawing it. So at 0.5, you'd always be drawing a pixel like on the center. But if you were doing 0 to 1, you could still use it like a regular chart. And the idea is that it continuously paints a pixel and then moves the UV to the right. So it like, I don't, we don't need to save the data. The idea is that like you're just drawing the current point, fade into the shader, and it'll just kind of like keeps that history until it fades out. So that it's not actually making a real curve, you know, by doing it as a shader, it'll be a lot more performant for the UI. So we're just like on physics update, you know, just feeding in the current value of something into the material. And then we get a really nice looking power meter and power curve over time. I'm just using a seismograph as an example because it's probably the best, you know, best kind of reference. So that's one thing that needs to be a thing. But I'm not going to worry about that yet. But if I can kind of make it like a shader-based graphics system where I can kind of render out charts in shader, I think that's the best approach to doing UI for the MFDs. So anyway, that's so that's just what we're doing today. Being too warm and going through assets in the final build to kind of start, you know, getting stuff together, putting gameplay together. Like we made the prison system work, but we haven't added the logic to it. We made a lot of things work and look good, having that, you know. Yeah. The fan's not too loud, but oh. Yeah, it's good to see you, Hawk, on the YouTube, because I don't know which one you prefer. It doesn't really matter to you. I find the YouTube has been really popping off, and people have been watching the VODs. Like, people have been going, you can't hear the fans? Good. They're literally blowing on me. You watch both now? Nice. Yeah, it all helps. Yeah, that's what I want to get scale. Like, I want to just make a moon. I got a moon texture here, which is tiling. I just want a planetoid, right? We want one moon, water planet, glacial planet, sand planet, gas giant. That's those are like the stretch goals now of what I want to create foundationally. Just 4 unique planets in one star system, and you know, they're not, you know, they're not anything that requires trees, right? A glacial planet would just be really thick, continuous snowstorm, right? Like literally, I'm gonna literally make it always snowy. You can't see shit. You land, you know, it's like Hoth, right? Just simple terrain, white, you know, like easy peasy. The sand planet will be hard out of all of those, but once again, no vegetation requirement. You know, it's just Arrakis. So by keeping the and gas giant is literally nothing. The gas giant is just a ball of, you know, it'd literally just be a billboard shader that once you get close enough becomes a fog volume, you know. What did you order, Sarah? I was thinking like moving all the code over was going to be a lot more complicated, and it's not. Most of all the changes that I made to everything work. It's great. Yeah, I think we'll actually do this. We'll actually do... Because the hangar has a landing pad. We don't really need to know. Hey, Revere, I'm going to have to go at work still. Always good to watch your work, buddy. Talk to you later. Have a good one, Pagan. Always great to see you. I want to add like fuzzy dice or something. I need to make some like monthly rewards or something. I guess when I get more into the account management stuff, I'll probably start doing some of that. I guess nothing's in a rush right now. Right now we just put stuff together, get it all working. Yeah, so in... I think, yeah, I'm gonna fix a few more bugs with this stuff. Then we're going to go back. Let's make sure multiplayer works. Yeah, so I'm going to yeah, so we should have all the different variations of these in working next week. That should be cool. Yeah, this was not the other. It should be another character, so. Yes, oh, on Discord. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, well, why are we not getting two? Maybe we are getting two. No, not enabled. Project. Debug. Oh, you have to enable it. Okay, good. Oh, okay, we're actually not. We're getting a ton of errors in synchronization or something. So I can free up some memory. Hey, if a file says like Autodesk FBX, this should work in Godot 4.3, right? Yep. Are you using the Mixamo ones? But yes, they're using the new UFBX importer in 4.3, which is a little bit better. If it's an A pose, you might have to. If you're doing like a character and they're an A pose, I'll show you anyway. I can show you on the Discord. If you're ever getting in the rigs and whatever but general FBX stuff. What I like about it too, once you get it imported, you can export it back to GLTF. I mean, it'll be in GLTF anyway once it's imported. You can just export it back to Blender. You have no. I don't I don't mind what anyone does. This is why people, man, there's a lot of people that are really like protective about their projects, and they're like, oh no, I can't stream it. Someone will steal my work. I'm like, listen, if someone's willing to sit here, you know, 6 to 7 hours a day, remaking what I've already made, go power to you. You know what I mean? You know, just because you can see me do it doesn't mean it's easy to do, even if you were copying me directly, you know? Yeah, so it's the NPCs not synced. That's not the issue that I was hoping to have. I might have to run it from the that could be annoying. I hate Discord and whenever I have Discord running, man, that and I think the screen capture software that I'm using is the biggest bane of my existence. I need to get a capture card, like a higher resolution capture card, as I actually think I'm actually sending stuff over to the streaming PC. It is totally like, you know, utilizing the GPU and slowing things down. Come on. And if I like, yeah, if we check the applications running, and we're going to stop them and relaunch them, they will now be fine. It drives me crazy. Yeah, so this is a lot nicer. Oh yeah, and check this out. This is a little minor detail. I didn't know what meshes to use for multiplayer. You know, because you know how I had a color property to distinguish, you know, like you as a player, and I was like, shit, what do I do with that for now? Well, anyway, I set it so you could like, it actually affects the color on the, I picked one random mesh. If I log in, was pick something pink or whatever. You could definitely blow it up into, you could actually like increase it a little bit and kind of drive it more into the, check it out. So now each player has accented details. Can't wait, man. I want to work on the skin shading. I want to get my actual weapons in, like my real weapons that I use, and actually fix the rifle. You know, and kind of go through this stuff. We need crouch working too. And crouch most certainly doesn't work, but yeah, okay. And what's cool is I'll do the same thing I did before. Only this time, so this time it is a little bit slower. Definitely spawning in the shop. Not as instantaneous. Oh yeah, and we can't go into that side because now we're actually using the real ship. Oh wait, does that mean the co-pilot seat works? Yeah, let's go. I just assume all of this works, you know? I haven't actually tested any of this stuff. Nope. What broke? Is it a free look system that broke? It's like we're not This is what I want to get to, Hawk. I want to not distribute the Patreon or the systems build anymore. I want to have the systems build as a like a, what do we call it? We're testing a feature, but then have the Patreon build be this build, and you know, like one goes into the other anyway. And you know, so I really want to, you know, get to that point now where we're just playing the game together. Like I need people to buy cargo and sell it. You know what I mean? And try out the trade routes. And you know, that's where I am right now. There's nothing stopping me from doing that, other than just me needing to add. Like I should be able to go in here as a guest. You know, isn't that cool? Like just having the other players and see, like I can look over and here's my buddy, you know, in the seat. Like people finding your stream, you know, join your game, literally. Yeah, that's what I want. Like come in and, you know, test this build with us. This is so cool. But anyway, and this is what I was showcasing about the stupid gravity handoff. Like having this, we need to fix it. I need to do a PR. We need to do a pull request to Godot to be like, hey, can we get a function, you know, or an extra flag on freeze and unfreeze that will not notify Area 3Ds of it happening. If I could have that one feature, and maybe it's worth going into C++ and fixing, you know, adding it ourselves, like freeze no notify or something like that. If I just had a custom, you know, thing called freeze no notify, or vice versa, where we can freeze and unfreeze an object without notifying its Area 3D triggers. But it would be chef's kiss for like the way I utilize them. But yeah, so what's our bug this time? NPCs. For not necessarily for performance, I just don't like the default behavior, and I need to be able to change it. Because the issue is, right, here's the issue. If I have, right, let's pretend this is a ship component, right? This is like a ship component. When I enter this Area 3D, which is like gravity, I register the ship component, and it's now in gravity, and it's being applied from gravity. When I disable and freeze it, like when I socket it into place and I freeze it, it's broadcasting to the area that I've left gravity, but I've not left gravity. You know what I mean? Like I'm using Area 3Ds as a natural trigger, like I would in Unity as a collider set to a trigger. But when I disable them, it's being removed. And that makes sense, because obviously if you like re-enable the player, you want the area to kind of register you. But I want it to be situational, because what'll happen is when I go and drop the box and make it physical again, like when I unsocket it, I'm actually like yeeting it into space and then sucking it back in again. Not in a literal sense, not in a physical sense, but as far as the understanding of the trigger itself, right? It's saying this is 0G, and then when that's happening inside a ship, it's yeeting it into 0G, and because it's in 0G, it's entered the ship from 0G. Like it messes up my references. So I ended up having to create like a gravity volume reference on the ship and on the player, and I'm storing the state so that every time I trigger the Area 3D now, I need to check and see like what gravity volume has been defined, and is the player already, like I have an internal list of rigid bodies now that I'm saving a state of, so that when I enter, if you're already registered, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do what it would do normally because you've entered and you're already registered. But now I'm maintaining state, which I wouldn't have to do if the Area 3D just behaved the way that I want it to do. You know, like I wouldn't need to have like a gravity volume maintain a list of things that are inside it. So it's not an extremely complicated thing. It got really complicated when I started doing planets, because we had that extra layer of nesting, and it just pissed me off, because it was like what was happening is the custom code I wrote here Because I want to do it this way. I don't want to be always aligning the player to gravity for certain things. So with this gravity volume here, let me change the sun. Right, so let me move the star up a little bit. Okay, just to change our natural shadow. Okay, so I thought Rev everything knows. Oh, Fusion, I still wouldn't be probably doing this if it wasn't for your willingness to put up with some of my ridiculous ideas. Like the whole Sea of Clouds thing. Yep, I will. So check this out, right? I still want to do it this way for stations. With stations, the second we enter gravity, I run a physics slurp. And then that's it, it's done. It's like the physics slurp's job is to get the player aligned to gravity and then die. And freeze the rigid body, right? Because we don't need to, like, we're aligned to the station. So once we authoritatively do this, that's it. We're done. Problem is that if I get yeeted, if I unfreeze my character, right? This is what was causing this stupid thing. When we were getting in the seat and it was doing the jerkiness, it was the character freezing and unfreezing and causing it to realign itself to the station. We were getting ejected into the station and re-registered, and it was causing the player to realign inside the ship, and it was just being dumb. Like, and now I fixed it, but the extent that I've had to do, because ideally I shouldn't never be changing the references to the gravity areas, right? I should just be able to get out of the seat and just stand up and don't go messing with anything. But the second I freeze and unfreeze the rigid body, I'm triggering every single area around me, including their nesting. And if I could just not do that on a Godot level, chef's kiss, everything would be so much easier. But it's a very situational thing. But hey, look at it now, right? Like, nice and smooth. I can look around. I got free look now. You know, we can get the Toby tracking in. Anyway, I'm gonna go take a food break, so I'm gonna end it. I won't raid anything or do anything. I'm just gonna end the stream, and we'll be back after. So, you know, after I eat, and we're gonna continue to kind of polish. Like, I want to. It's time. It's time to be at the station. It's time for the Patreon build to have player customization, and you know, it's time for it to get player customization in, and be able to actually, you know, like, have the game feel good. Like, it's time to make it a game. You know. So wonder there, and let me know what it was like on the X side of things. If anyone, like, I think Pagan was watching on X, and we'll see how the social media stuff goes. And yeah, so far so good. Wherever my ending screen is. You know what? I don't even think there is one. There's a BRB screen. No. All right.